from your experience now working in this couple of weeks with the Covid Relief, what were some of the uplifting experiences you had? Or there's some things that in desperate times, I mean, often it brings people together and it brings out the best in us. Is there something in particular that gives you the energy and gives you the positivity? Is there anything in that?
I think that it's amazing how this kind of situation, this kind of crisis makes things possible that weren't possible before. And, one of those possibilities is this coalition of partners from such different backgrounds, to be pairing Brand Think with the Thai Health Volunteers Foundation is completely nuts. When would that partnership happen? It's, again, we need a good crisis to get us going. And so, being able to pull a coalition like this together in the space of a couple of weeks has been truly heartwarming. And I think more than that, to now start building the trust level where, an organization says to us, there's 20 households that are locked down, quarantined now, we need help now. And you just drop what you're doing, you put the packs together, and you are as safe as possible, and you get the packs to them, and you knock on the door, and you step away from the door. You keep leaders, and they open up, and there you go, and that's it. And so to see the systems now in place, the coalition in place, the system in place, and now the ability to respond in a fast and nimble way, I think we're just learning very quickly, and we're working together well. And so that's heartwarming for me.
Awesome.
To see these things build so quickly.
That's amazing. Yeah, this says something a lot. It says a lot about our ability to self-organize in these kind of times. But do you also see something that some shortcomings of our, the systems before in dealing with such crisis of such magnitude? Do you see any shortcomings that were revealed because of that COVID-19?
I think that Thailand is probably no different to a lot of other countries that have been sort of stunned by this pandemic. And a situation like this, a crisis like this, does expose the sort of inherent vulnerabilities in all kinds of areas, right? I mean, when you look at, say, some of our civil society partners, they're chronically underfunded, and they often don't have the frontline equipment that they need to do this kind of work safely. So the capacity building that needs to happen in such a short period of time to respond effectively is monumental. So I think this is the same, in the UK. Our health service has been chronically underfunded for a decade and has been suffering, and morale has been so low. And then you get hit with a pandemic like this, and it really exposes the frailties of a system that only prioritizes the market and doesn't invest adequately in the health systems and the fundamental safety nets that society needs when the chips are really down. And so again, I don't think Thailand is any different to any other countries. I think this exposes a lot of vulnerabilities in our politics and a lot of vulnerabilities in our leaders to respond adequately. The lack of global coordination between our leaders has been, I think, pretty shocking and eye-opening for all of us. And without wanting to get too political here, about the specific situation in Thailand, I think Thailand is a country that's going to get hit really hard by this, with an economy that's so reliant on tourism. And this better than anyone. This better than I do at Bangkok Vanguards. 11% of this economy relies on tourism. And suddenly when you click your fingers and it's gone, there was an amazing picture posted by the Bangkok Post. We shared it on the Facebook group for Covid Relief. And, please do join the Facebook group. People just type in COVID Relief and you'll find the group. And it was a picture in Khao San. I saw this. It was a picture before the curfew. It must have been about 8 p.m. in Khao San of these street vendors. I think they might have been selling noodles or something, and no one on the street in Khao San, just empty street, like a scene out of Vanilla Sky. And if you see, he's running through Times Square and there's no one there, it's like very surreal. And this vendor, I don't know whether it's her sister or her daughter, I'm not sure, but she's hugging her from behind her in this empty street. And I thought, if there was ever a symbol of the devastation economically that this situation is going to cause so many people, countries that were really reliant on tourism are going to get hit the hardest. And not just tourism, other industries as well that have been hit so hard. I think the recent estimates were that I think 140,000 people have signed up for unemployment benefits in Thailand over the last couple of months since the fallout of COVID-19. 140,000, and I think they're expecting 6.5 million people to be put out of work, including migrant workers, because of this crisis here in Thailand. I mean, you can't get your head around the impact, and that's, the inherent vulnerabilities. And there's a certain amount of this that just can't be helped. However many people saw Bill Gates a few years ago deliver a speech on the TED stage doesn't mean that you're prepared for something like this. So it's not going to be easy for anyone. But I think we need to learn from the responding well and are able to bounce back from this situation fast. And I'm worried about Thailand, man. I'm worried about the country and the people that are going to be affected.